you can tell, I have a different background today. We're going to be going over an article. I found this interesting. It's basically over the rising tensions between Iran and the United States. There's been a proxy war going on in Iraq and Syria between Shia, Iranian-backed militias and, U.S. troops on the ground. Anyways, I'm just going to read a little bit from this and give you an idea of what's going on. The article is called "Biden Under Pressure to Respond to Escalating Attacks on U.S. Troops in Iraq and Syria." A series of Iranian-backed militia attacks against Americans in Iraq and Syria is piling new pressure on President Joe Biden, with some Republicans criticizing his approach as inefficient and ineffective. Let's see, what am I looking for? They're calling this, Republicans this week criticized Biden's bare minimum, quote, bare minimum. What is the bare minimum exactly? I have it right here. The strikes in Syria killed a child and injured 3 other civilians, according to Syrian state media. So apparently, murdering children and injuring civilians, that's the bare minimum. Also, what exactly are you expecting to gain out of shooting rockets back? Like, is that how you achieve peace? You achieve peace by retaliating, because that's not going to cause a retaliation. No way. No. If you shoot rockets at Iranian-backed militias, they're not going to shoot rockets back at you. No way. Obviously. I mean, look, it's not happening right now. These people are so fucking stupid. We're also not even wanted in the region. I have a quote here from Iraqi Prime Minister Mustafa I'm terrible with pronunciation, so I'm just going to get that out of the way right now. Mustafa al-Kadhimi, maybe? I don't know. He called the attack a, quote, blatant and unacceptable violation of Iraqi sovereignty and national security, and that's exactly what it is. I don't know why exactly everybody thinks that we need to be the policemen of the world. It's been that way since, Teddy Roosevelt, even before Teddy Roosevelt, back in the late 1800s, we were policing South America and so on. So I don't get why we have to be the ones that go in and even let's suppose that we were there to defend human rights and protect people. Let's just pretend that was the case. Why is that our job? Why do we need to lose young men and women fighting overseas to protect other people? That's not our job. It's obviously not working, as U.S. efforts in the Middle East has led to the moderates losing power in Iran, and a more extreme regime has taken, or not regime, a more extreme administration has taken over. It's led by Ebrahim Raisi. Now, I don't know too much about Iranian politics, but from what I understand, they are quite a bit more extreme than the former administration, which was the more moderate wing. I guess what Iran would call moderate, here they would be, again, right-wing Islamic extremists. But they were quite progressive in terms of the deals that we had with Iran at the time. They were the ones who got us into the nuclear deal, where Iran began to de-arm themselves, and in exchange we lifted some sanctions, and Trump took us out of that. I'm sure we all know that. Trump pulled us out of that deal, and Iran is back to building up their nuclear arms and raising tensions with us. Again, rightfully so. I mean, we're bombing their allies in the Middle East, which we have no right to be there. We are assassinating their leaders. Back when Trump drone strike that, I don't remember his name, but that Iranian leader. So yeah, I mean, we're really asking to be attacked here. That's my opinion. That's my take on it. And again, these Republican senators, they're wanting more retaliation. What is that going to accomplish besides kill more Americans and more civilians? But they don't care. It's really all about making money for them. I'm sure you look at the donors, the people who are backing these Republican senators, it's probably like Raytheon, Boeing, people who are making money off of war. So of course they're going to be in favor of escalation. But they're gonna make the claim that, if we bomb them more, they'll stop, which is fucking bullshit. Doesn't take a genius to realize that. Not to mention, nowhere in the article does it ever talk about who exactly the Shia militias backed by Iran are fighting on the ground. Do you want to know who it is? It's Sunni militias backed by the United States, otherwise known as ISIS. We are funding ISIS in an attempt to counter Iranian influence in the region, we are literally funding Islamic extremism. And it's not like that's ever come back to bite us in the ass. You know, who's ever heard of the Mujahideen or Al-Qaeda? Right? I've never... 9/11? That even happened? No. No, there's no way this could go wrong, guys. Funding and arming Islamic extremists. What's the worst that could happen? What are they going to do? Bomb a couple buildings or something? These fucking idiots. It's like... It's that common saying, history repeats itself. It's all about moving pieces around on the international chessboard, making money off of war profiteering, and attempting to counter our enemies' goals in the region. We are wasting American lives and civilian lives, and we're not even wanted in the region just to move some pieces around on a chessboard. So, what exactly matters more? Having a little bit more power on the grand scheme of things, or saving thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of lives? It's obvious who the Republicans care about. Their wallets, not the American people, certainly not the Syrian, the Iraqi, or the Iranian people. It's time to make a change. It's time to get the fuck out. So this segment I've talked a lot about how terrible Republicans are when it comes to Iran and foreign policy issues in general. I just want to make it clear that when it comes to foreign policy, especially when it comes to Iran, Democrats are no better. This is a quote from Secretary of State Antony Blinken. Quote, "I would anticipate that even in the event of a return to compliance with the JCPOA, hundreds of sanctions would remain in place, including sanctions imposed by the Trump administration," end quote. So basically what he's saying there is that Joe Biden's administration isn't going to get us back into the nuclear deal. They're not going to get us back into the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. If the moderates weren't willing to, go back into the deal with sanctions still on their country, which rightfully so. I mean, why would you go back into a nuclear deal with a country that's, stopping medicine and food coming into your country? It makes zero sense. But anyways, why would the extremist government led by Ebrahim Raisi agree to that? They're essentially shooting themselves in the foot with this. And they're escalating and rising tensions. So again, Democrats need to get their fucking heads out of their asses, just like the Republicans do. Both sides, when it comes to this issue, are terribly backwards. Thanks again for sticking around for this long. I know this was a long one. Foreign policy is actually kind of my niche interest area. This is what I'm most passionate about. So I had a little bit more to say. But anyways, thanks for sticking around. I'll see you next time.